Hey everybody, how's it going? This is John Breeden. It is May 17th, 2019. It is Friday on the show today, and I'm here to talk about the All-Star Race weekend. We have, of course, the All-Star Race, the 85-lap $1,000,000 race on Saturday night. And we do have truck racing tonight at 8 o'clock on FS1, the truck race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It appears that Kyle Busch will be racing tonight in the 51 truck, and this will be his final start of 2019. Of course, Cup drivers are limited to 5 races in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. So Kyle Busch looking to go 5 for 5 in his starts in the truck series, and I really don't even want to harp on this too much because I think it's pretty obvious. Kyle Busch is going to win tonight, and I know a lot of people are going to be mad, but you know what? This is his last race, so everybody can quit complaining after this one because Kyle will be done for the rest of the season. He went 4 for 4 in his first 4 starts of the year. He won Atlanta, Martinsville, Texas, and he won Las Vegas as well. Sorry, I was forgetting that one. He basically won 4 straight. And yeah, so I think no question Kyle Busch is going to be the favorite tonight. And as far as everybody else, I mean, you know Brett Moffitt's going to be fast. You know Grant Enfinger's going to be fast. And, you know, as well as Ross Chastain. I mean, he is coming off the big win in Kansas. So you know he's going to be fast. Yeah. So look for those guys. Those are definitely the 3 you need to watch. Stuart Friesen looking to rebound after a very disappointing end to the Kansas race last week where he was leading. He had won both stages, and he ran out of gas with 3 laps to go, going for his first career win. So watch for him to try and get redemption. And Natalie Decker back this week as well in the 54 truck. See if she can rebound after her accident last weekend in Kansas. She has 2 top 20s this year. Best finish of 13th. So, yeah. And Johnny Sauter also had a bad week last week, had drive shaft issues, was back in the garage after coming off his win at Dover. So he'll be looking to rebound as well. And yeah, but I have a feeling they're going to be chasing Kyle Busch all night. I'm sure you'll get some guys like Moffitt or Friesen to go up there and challenge him, maybe lead some laps. But towards the end, think it could come down to a restart. It could come down to a final pit stop. But however it happens, Kyle Busch is going to find his way to the front and win at Charlotte. Go 5 for 5 in 2019, and that will be he will complete his run in the Truck Series this year. So there you go. So that is tonight, 8 p.m., the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 on FS1. Tonight at 8:30, and you can also listen on MRN. So it's time to get into the All-Star Race. I'm going to start actually with the Monster Energy Open. So first off, let me just go through some of the basic rules here. Rules and the format for the Monster Energy All-Star Race. This is from NBCSports.com. The All-Star Race is 85 laps this year. It will be split up into stages of 30 laps, 20 laps, 20 laps, and a 15-lap final segment. Only green flag laps will count in the final stage. Each stage must end under green. Overtime procedures will be in place for each stage. If the race is restarted with 2 laps or less in the final stage, there will be unlimited attempts at a green-white checkered finish. There is no mandatory pit strategy. Thank God there's no mandatory pit strategy. Driver eligibility, winners from last season and this season, previous All-Star winners who are competing full-time in the series, Cup champions who are running full-time in the series, and the 3 stage winners of the Monster Energy Open, and the winner of the fan vote. 15 drivers are already locked into the main event. Those drivers are Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, Clint Bowyer, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Ryan Newman, and Martin Truex Jr. 4 more drivers will transfer in the All-Star race from the 50-lap Monster Energy Open, divided into segments of 20 laps, and 10 laps. And for the second straight year, NASCAR is using the All-Star race to try features on the cars that could be used in upcoming seasons. There will be 2 technical changes that could be used in the Gen 7 car. And right here it also says a single-piece carbon fiber splitter/pan that is expected to offer improvements in ride height sensitivity for drivers. This is expected to provide more stable aero platform and create more consistent performance in traffic, which consistent performance in traffic is something we obviously heard a lot about after the Dover race from Kyle Busch and a lot of other drivers who said it was very difficult to pass in traffic, which you watch that Dover race, it absolutely was. So, yeah, there you go. Now, if you watched Race Hub yesterday, Kevin Harvick and Chad Knaus were on, and so they were asked if we would kind of see the same race we saw last year. And if you remember last year, they put restrictor plates on the cars for that race last year, and my goodness, was it a show. And I think Bubba Wallace last year described it as they were running on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart, which perfect description of what that race was. It was just a wild race, something I've never seen before. It was a very fun race. Now, unfortunately, Harvick said you probably won't see that because obviously they're just using the same aero package we've used all year long. But like I said, they are, modifying some things that they may use in the future. So Harvick did say, though, you'll probably see the racing you saw last week in Kansas, which was a great race, but it was not what we saw last year at Charlotte. So overall, I still think it'll be a pretty good race. And, if you could say anything about these newer drivers and these younger drivers and just this generation of drivers, these guys will do anything to win these races. So overall, I think it's going to be a pretty awesome show on Saturday. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be as good as last year. I may be wrong, but I think it will be a good race. I think we'll see, like I said, I'm going to go by what Harvick's saying, and I think we'll see something similar to Kansas. But, I don't know. I mean, Charlotte over the years, it's been a long time, really, since I think I've seen a really good Charlotte race, especially an all-star race. I mean, excluding last year's, it's been a long time since I said, you know what, I saw a great all-star race. I guess I would have to say 2009, and I would only say that because I actually watched the highlights. They were showing the highlights on Race Hub yesterday. It was a clip where Tony Stewart was doing a sit-down interview and he was watching his All-Star race win. But, going back and watching that, there were a lot of great highlights. So I would have to say, besides last year, that was the last great All-Star race. So I don't know. I think it may be as good as Kansas. I'm not really sure. I think it will be definitely more exciting than some other years. I know there were a string of years in this All-Star race where it was just kind of nothing really happened. I can bring up 2015, for example. I can't really remember the 2016 race. 2017, though, I do remember not a lot happened. So, yeah, overall, it will be a much more improved All-Star race, but I don't think it's going to be as good as last year. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens on Saturday night. And hopefully I'm wrong. I hope it is better than Kansas. I hope we do see a good show. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I already mentioned the 15 drivers who are in the All-Star race. So the drivers who are in the Open are basically everybody else. Some notables. Daniel Suarez is in the Open. Alex Bowman, William Byron, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Let's see, who else am I leaving out? I don't have the entry list anywhere. I don't know where you can find that. But it's basically everybody else, if not the 15 names I just listed. So Bubba Wallace also has to race his way in. There are quite a few others. But so, as far as the Open goes, like I mentioned, 3 drivers get in. And then there's the one fan vote. So I guess I'm going to make my predictions on who I think is going to win each stage. I think Alex Bowman, I think you just have to give it to him because he has ran so strong over the last few weeks. Obviously, 3 straight second-place finishes. I think it's really no question. I think that Alex Bowman will be one of the 3 stage winners. I say he wins. Oh, sorry, they're not actually calling them stages. They're calling them segments for the All-Star race. So I say he wins the first segment. And yeah, so Alex Bowman will be in the All-Star race. I think also Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be in the All-Star race. He is much improved from last season, and he's obviously ran very strong. And as a matter of fact, he was up there with a shot to win at Kansas last week. So I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is probably the second guy that gets in. And so we have Alex Bowman in the All-Star race. We have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the All-Star race. And finally, the last 10-lap segment, I think Daniel Suarez will get in there. Daniel just seems like every year he's able to get in. Charlotte, is a good track for him, and he's been able to pass through into the All-Star race each year in these Open races. So I would say Daniel Suarez probably gets that last stage. So the 3 drivers that will race their way in are Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Daniel Suarez. And for the fan vote, my prediction, I think it's going to be Bubba Wallace. And Bubba Wallace, he's a very likable guy, and he has a pretty solid fan base. And, I mean, what can you say? He's driving Richard Petty's number 43. I think Bubba Wallace gets into the All-Star race. Bubba Wallace will be the fan vote. So, that is going to be the 4 drivers putting themselves into the All-Star race. As far as the All-Star race goes, it's kind of hard to really predict who you think is going to win and things like that. Obviously, Kevin Harvick won last year, and I'm sure he probably wants to get back at it after he was kind of robbed of his Kansas win. Well, not robbed, but got it taken away from him due to issues. So I'm sure Kevin Harvick's going to be a contender. I mean, I come on here every week and I predict somebody that's not out of the Joe Gibbs Team Penske camp. And almost every single week this year, except for 1 week, I've been wrong. So overall, I think it's going to be a Penske or Joe Gibbs guy. And the guy I'm going to go ahead and pick is, you know what? This is the All-Star race. I'm going to go a long shot on this one. I say, and it's not even really a long shot, but I think the guy leaving with $1 million on Saturday night, upsetting everybody, is going to be Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones has ran solid in the past few weeks. He ran very good at Kansas. Can't exactly remember where he finished. He's somewhere in the top 5. But he's run very solid all year long. He is, in fact, the one Joe Gibbs car that has not won this year. So I just have a feeling that Eric Jones is going to win the All-Star race. We've seen some surprise winners in this All-Star race before. And like I said, even call it, can you even really call him an upset winner? I mean, he has ran solid all year. He's with Joe Gibbs, probably ultimately the best team right now. So, yeah, why not? Why not pick Eric Jones for this All-Star race? I say Eric Jones, he gets the $1 million on Saturday night. So there you go. That is my All-Star race preview, and I will be back sometime next week to review all the action from Charlotte and also get you ready for the Coca-Cola 600. Be sure to check out my social medias. I have them in the video description. You can follow me there on Instagram and Twitter. And that is it. Everybody have a good day.